another episode of Pandemic Apparel. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to draft a skirt using Lectra. I recently received a certificate for Lectra, and this is by far the easiest CAD software for pattern making I've used so far. As I show you how to draft the skirt, pay attention to the key commands and the right and left mouse buttons, but first let's change some of the settings before we get started. Go to the top of the menu bar where it says Parameters. Click, hold, and drag the mouse all the way to the bottom until it detaches. Now click, hold, and move the mouse across the words length unit until you see the submenu. Change it to inches and 16th. Do the same to angles unit and change it to DG. Area unit, inches and 16th. Scale unit, percent scale. Second, under config, change it to icon text. Lastly, create a folder called Lectra, all caps. If you use a USB drive, do not create this folder, just simply create the following two folders under the root directory. Now, in Lectra, create two folders, Missy MDL and Missy PROD, all caps. Just a note, this system only reads caps, so if you use lowercase, you may have some problems. So just make sure anytime you type anything in here, you're going to use caps. Another note about Lectra, it uses 16ths. So if you remember when I had you do the settings, it said inches and 16ths. What does this mean? If I wanted to use a measurement and type it in and use 1.5 inches, I couldn't simply put 1.5 or 1.5 inches. I would have to put 1 inch 8. The same thing goes like 1 1/4. I would have to put 1 inch 4. As you can see in this chart here, I have it all broken down. And you can find the printout as well on my Facebook page under free stuff. Okay, let's get started. First, go to File, New, type in Basic Skirt or a style number if you'd like, and then press Enter key. Then Sheet, New Sheet, F2 Rectangle. Left click anywhere and then move the mouse into the pop-up window and enter 21 inches wide by 19 inches 8 high, then press the Enter key. Right click on the gray screen and hit the Home key, and this will let you see the sheet. Okay, F1 division. Left click on the bottom right square and on the top right square. In the pop-up window, enter the number 2 and the Enter key. You'll see an X at the middle of the 2 points. Now in F1, find Bezier and left click on the X and hold down the Control key to create a straight line across and right click to finish the line. You'll now have the rectangle divided into two. The front is the bottom and the top is the back. Now we're going to add reference points. In F1, go to Add Point. Left click and move the mouse until you see 0, 6, then left click to place the point. Now go back to the bottom right square and left click and move up until you see 2 inches 12, then left click to move to place the point. Now from the same X point, you're going to left click and move the mouse until you see 0, 8, then left click to place the point. Once again, you're going to the same spot, left click, 0, 8, and left click again. Another point is left click, 1 inch 12, then left click again. Left click, 0, 6, then left click, 0, 6, then left click, and lastly, left click 2 inches then left click to place the point. And to create the side seam hip, we're going to left click 8 inches and left click again to place the point. Okay, it's time to create the hip curve. Go to F2, arc arrow. Left click on the X and move the mouse and hit the Q key on the keyboard to create the curve. You can hit this as many times as you want. If you want to go back, hit the W before you click again. When you're satisfied, left click to place that line, and you're going to do the same thing with the waist curve, except this time you're going to use the W, and then when you're satisfied, you're going to left click again. To place the drill hole, go to No Mark at the bottom menu bar and click, hold, and drag till you see Mark Tool 35. Then left click, you're going to see the 3 X's, the center one. Hold down the Control key and move the mouse until you see 3 inches 4 and left click to place the point. Do the same thing to the second set, except this time it's going to be 3 inches. Do not forget to go back and change Mark Tool 35 back to No Mark. To zoom in, you're going to hit the Enter key. You're going to click the mouse and drag it to the section you want to zoom into. If you want to zoom out of the sheet, just hit Home. Now to move the dart leg points to the curve line, go to F1, Add Point. Left click on the X and hold down the Control key and move the mouse over to the curve line and left click to drop the point. And you're going to do this to just the dart legs. Okay, so finally we're going to cut the pattern. So go to F4, Cut. Left click on the inside of the pattern piece and right click at the same spot. To visualize the pattern piece, click Page Down key and you'll see the new sheet and the front skirt will be on that. And it's going to be blue with a white outline. Okay, let's clean up the pattern piece. There should be 4 squares per pattern piece. There's always an exception to this rule, but for this pattern piece, this is what we need. When you grade or add seam allowance, this line will break up into 2. To avoid this, we need to merge this line. So go to F3, Merge, and you're going to left click on the square and it should turn into an X. Okay, let's add the notches. Go to F2, Notch, and left click on that point that we just merged and the 4 dart legs. Now, before we go any further, let's just save our file. So go to File, Save. If you get a prompt, this just means that you have it already saved, and just hit Continue and it will just save it again. Usually when you save it for the first time, you won't get this prompt. Next, let's add some seam allowance. So go to F4, Line Seam, right click on the side seam, hold down the Shift key and right click on the waist line. Then left click on the side seam and move the mouse outwards until you see 0.8. Then left click to place the seam allowance. You're not going to see anything yet, so let's do the hem as well. Left click on the hem line and move the mouse until you see 1 inch and left click again. Now let's go to F4 and go to Exchange. If you don't see it, minimize the top menu industrialization by clicking the square in front of it. Then left click on the pattern piece and now you should see the pattern piece with the white outline, which is the sew line, and then the blue around it, that's the seam allowance. Now we're going to get rid of the sew line because we don't need that. So go to F4, Cut Creation, left click on the inside of the pattern piece. Now you'll see the cut and sew lines in white. In F3, go to Deletion, go to delete the sew lines. So click left click all the way around the hem, side seam, and waistline. Now let's go back to F2, Notch, and let's notch the hem and the side seam. And we're going to also clean up this by removing all the little X's that we do not need. Okay, another thing we have to clean is the center front. There's an extra little line there that we do not need. So go to F3, reshape, and left click and move that down and drop that point. Also go to deletion and left click on that line to get rid of it. Okay, so the back is similar to the front except it has a few different measurements. So the center back will be 0 inches 8, then you're going to go 2 inches 12, 0 inches 8, 0 inches 8, 1 inch 12, 0 inch 6, 0 inch 6, and 2 inches. Now, since the side seams sew together, they're usually the same shape. So you're going to go to F1, duplicate, left click on the line. Before you left click again, you're going to want to hit the X or Y. This will either mirror or flip the line. And once you have it the way you want, left click to place it. Also, you can go to F3 and you can reshape and move this line as well, just to adjust it where it needs to be. So don't forget to add the seam allowance to the center back, which is either 3/4 or 1 inch. I added 3/4. And then to add the double notch on the center back, go to F1, add point, and then go to the top right square, and then move that point down, and then move it down another 1/2 inch, and then place the notches in F2, just notch those 2 points. And so then you're done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Next episode will be grading the basic bodice. If you missed last episode, updated seam tutorial, check that out. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to Pandemic Apparel.